This is the Kawai ES920 piano. It has many keys. They are weighted, which means when you press them, they do things like a real piano, as I shall now demonstrate. So a real piano goes like this as well. You push down and then there's a little clunk. That's the, in a real piano, the hammer would go boom. And this is one of the main reasons the Kawai 920 thingamajiggy is a fantastic device. It is actually quite a good device. Now, it has many fascinating features. It doesn't come with the dust normally, but mine does. It's got a lot of volume. That's excessive. But it also does quietness. You can have a selection of many individual different piano noises. For example, one of my favourites is the ballad organ, which you can't hear. It just sounds... But it also has a selection of different pianos, but they're all very useful and I don't think you need to use any of them apart from the normal piano. It does have Bluetooth. In previous versions, this used to be very easy to use and you could play things like Spotify through it. But now, for some reason, it is completely incomprehensible. There are many settings, all of which can be ignored because they're pretty much just a bit pointless. And if you hold down this for a second or two, you get to change the touch curve. So that means if you turn it off, it only does loud. But if you turn it to slightly to normal, if I play softly, I can change the volume with my hands like in a real piano. And you can obviously make that heavy as well. It begins to feel a bit more like a good piano rather than a dodgy one. It also has, you can adjust the reverb, which is pretty brilliant, clearly. That's honestly actually just annoying because most of the time when you're trying to play the piano, which is probably the reason you would be interested in such a piano, because if you're some sort of DJ, you probably wouldn't have a piano that only has that much adjustment in the bands. It just sounds a bit annoying. It sort of sounds mushy and all schmoozed together, which is annoying. You also can transpose it, which is useful if you are really bad at transposing and you play with human beings who are singing. The splitting thing means you can do, if I do, that's probably a bad example. No, do something like that there. Okay, so down here. So. Yeah. Not really sure why anyone would want to use that in the real world. There's also registration, which is really useful when you're bored of practicing the piano. So if you turn this, you can do the same. Shut up. You can do things like electric piano and harpsichord at the same time, which is good for when you're extremely bored of practicing something like Bach. I've never actually learned that. That was just yes. And then there's other features such as the metronome. Yeah, so that's a metronome. It can be adjusted in many various interesting and fascinating ways. And let's just go back to normal piano. And then there's also the USB feature, which if you press, it says connect USB device, which, where did I put it? You can connect a USB device into the USB device machine. This has no useful features except for exporting and loading things, but the main thing it's used for is getting a recording of your own playing off the piano and onto your computer. You probably might want one of those, which is a USB to USB-C adapter, which also means you can plug a USB into your phone, which is useful. And the final feature is the rhythm selector and the recorder. The recorder is fairly self-explanatory. Record, back, so on. But this is really exciting. So if I now press play, prepare to be amazed. Yeah, so there's lots of selections there. can also adjust the speed. And then you can also, this has different modes, so you can change the key signature. So that says C currently, so if I play a C minor chord, change to C minor. If I play a G, and then the song changes appropriately, and you can sort of, whatever people do jazz funk. I don't know. And that's kind of it, really. There's nothing else particularly useful. And the other thing is you've got a headphone jack, 3.5mm or the big one. You can also put a pedal on it, which has absolutely no feel and feels a bit like a... It just doesn't feel like a real pedal. I mean, it acts as a pedal, but it feels pretty useless as a pedal. And it's got this flimsy, terrible music stand. It also comes with this A-frame thing. Sorry, that's an X-frame. And it's really wonderful, and I heartily recommend it, etc. and so on and so forth. And you can get a chair with it. Or you could sit on the floor. Well done in watching this far. I hope it was a profoundly useful review.